Agile delivery is often referred to as iterative and incremental delivery. And I think many delivery organizations took that iterative and incremental and immediately focused on the iterative and said, we can make the iterative bit work. Unfortunately, the incremental bit was often lost. And the increment is a really critical part of iterative and incremental delivery. So let's think about what an increment really means. And I like Grand Prix, I like looking at the pit stops and so on in Grand Prix, and Grand Prix racing gives us a great example of what an increment is. So when the racing car comes into the pit stop, that's the beginning of our iteration. But the reason I like to use this as an analogy for incremental delivery is when the car comes into the pit stop and the mechanics all jump on the car to make the changes that they're going to make, they don't have the option of sending the car out and saying, well, we're not quite done, we're going to come back to that later on. When they make those changes, they have to send that same car out with some incremental change to that car, but it still has to be able to race and keep up with and keep position with all of the other cars on the racetrack. So incremental delivery is exactly that. It's this idea of making small changes to my systems, but then pulling the system back to a working state so that we can keep moving forward and keep going, using that system, testing that system, looking at the changes that we've made and learning whether or not they worked as we expected. So if I look at increments as a whole, the benefit that I'm getting there is each increment of delivery allows us to sign something off, to check that we're making progress and we're doing the right things. If we get feedback that suggests we're not doing the right things, we can pivot, we can change, we can make modifications to where we're going to go. On the other side of a risk management side is every step that we make forward, we don't necessarily have to pivot, but now we can validate that we're moving in the right direction and that we're moving at the pace we expect it to be, so that we're de-risking the project, that deliverable, as we move forward. So if we don't have those increments, we don't have the feedback mechanism, we don't have agile delivery.